Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we have Chris Andrew from Clarmond Wealth. He's joining us today to talk all things battery metals and discuss his position and interest in Slave Lake Zinc. Hey, Chris, welcome back to The Dive. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
Okay, so Chris, there's news that Ford is planning to rapidly scale electric vehicles and could confirm a partnership with China to build a $3.5 billion iron phosphate battery plant in Michigan. How do you view news like this, and what impact do you think that this will have on battery metals?
Well, it's just part of the trend that we know is going to be ongoing, whereby it's great for Michigan where they're building the factory, so that's good for starters. But B, it just shows you that battery metals and rare earths and all the stuff that goes into these electric cars is going to be a massive demand going forward, and is going to continue. It's not a 1 year trend or a 5 year trend. It's sort of a 20-year trend. I think we're going to see here.
Copper prices started off the year with a bang, but the rally appears to be losing steam. How do you view the recent price action in copper, and how do you see copper evolving from here?
Well, to copper's got that expression. It's Dr. Copper. So copper sort of it just tells you where the whole world economy is going, so they say. So I'm hoping the rally is, if that's right, which I think it sort of tends to be, I'm hoping that copper improves a bit. I own copper in a number of little companies. I think it's got a bit further to go. I think China reopening, I think a load of things are actually positive for it. It just may have gone a bit too far in the start of the year.
So speaking of battery metals, let's talk about one of your positions. Do you care to share what caught your eye in Slave Lake Zinc and why?
Yeah, well, it's there are a lot of things about it. Um, I think the macro environment is that you saw at the end of last year some large action in the large cap commodity companies, and it looks to have worked out well. And that normally trickles down to the small cap companies 6 months, 9 months after that's happened. So I was looking at, and I already was owning some small cap commodity companies. And my preferred market for that, because I've done it a lot, is Canada, because the Canadian management teams really seem to know what they're doing. And I'm not saying American teams don't, but my background has always been with Canadian management teams. And the Toronto Stock Exchange is a great place for well-run, well-managed, well-financed small caps. So I've been looking at those for some time, and I came across Slave Lake Zinc, and I met the management team on a Zoom call, and it's just an incredibly impressive project. But the thing that immediately catches your eye is that it's very, very cheap on a market cap basis. It's only like maybe $4.5 million dollar market cap, and they're sitting on a resource that's theoretically worth, or could be worth, multiple billions. So that initially has got to catch your eye.
We know that Slave Lake has a myriad of resources, not just zinc. They also have copper, lead, silver, and gold. Out of these minerals, what do you think will really drive the story out?
I think that whole package is very, very attractive. So, and by the way, I'm not that I know anything, but it wouldn't surprise me when they scratch the surface of that place, well, they don't find a load of other stuff there that they didn't know. This thing was surveyed, I believe, in the 50s or 40s or whatever, and I think so there'll be lots more to find, I'm sure. So, but all of those metals and zinc, they're all really important, really strategically important metals for the sort of ESG going forward. I wasn't viewing this as a gold play, if I'm honest. It was for the other metals.
Why do you consider Slave Lake to be a geologically interesting area?
Well, I'm not a geologist, so I can only go on what the management team have shown me. And what's really interesting about it is it's a very, very large property. So, and it seems to be very, very full of minerals from what management have explained to me. And what's also very good about it is it's up in this area where they're working in conjunction with the Northwest Territory Metis Nation, which is the local indigenous population up there. And what's interesting about Slave Lake is the management have taken their time to work with this indigenous population to really go on a joint uh, forward, proposal for this territory. So that takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, a lot of work on the management side and also the United Nations side. And that's very positive because if you have two groups working together towards a common goal, it's going to work very much more smoothly.
How does the company's methodical and unrushed approach to setting up projects appeal to you?
Well, um, I guess you're asking me. I'd rather have a quick buck than a slow buck, obviously. But this is a slow. This has been a slower process for the management team, and it's just a matter of the cycle is not always in your favor, so you can't fight the cycle. It's difficult years, last few years in small cap, so that's fine. So you just keep your head down, get it financed, get all the permits in place, get your agreements in place with your local partners, get everything done. That is, in my opinion, what Canadian management teams have been very, very good at doing, just slowly, methodically working it through, so that when we are at the point of announcing, or they're going to announce whatever they're going to announce, and go for fundraisings and all the rest of it, the whole story holds together really well. And there's nothing too speculative. Well, obviously, it's a small cap mining stock. There's always going to be speculative nature about it, but you get rid of as much of that speculation as you can along the way.
Okay, now the company recently acquired a database of historic information pertaining to the O'Connor Lake zinc lead copper silver gold critical metals project and is currently analyzing the new files. What potential outcome do you think that this will have on the company?
It could be massive. I mean, I don't know. That's what I want to work out. That's what I'd love to know what that report says, because it could be, well, um, it just could really show that what they're sitting on is incredibly valuable. So obviously, and again, this is the correct way of doing it. You get the report and you spend your time analyzing it, so that when you put stuff out, it's all there, it's all backed up, it's all very clear. So, I'm best. If I were ringing them up every day to say, what's in it? What's in it? When are you going to put out? When are you going to put out? But they're taking their time. It's the right thing to do because, when you hear some news from this management team, you can rely on it. And that's really important.
Okay, sounds great. Well, that's all we have for you today, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your
Okay.
thoughts with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
To our audience at home, thank you so much for watching today. We will be back again tomorrow with another interview that you're not going to want to miss. So be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe below before you leave us. Bye.